Keep an eye on Usman Silla, the dynamic midfielder, good dribbler in the attack. He's Clemson's leading goal scorer, so much of the game will flow through his feet in the final third.
First team All-ACC performer Silla. On the other side, the 3-5-2 that's become commonplace for Ian McIntyre. Nathan Opoku, another one of first team All-ACC guys, jumps out to you.
It's a sophomore battle. Two talented sophomore players. Nathan Opoku, he has been a thorn in many a team's side. He's got good hold-up play, but it's his feet and creativity that will link up the rest of the team in front of goal.
Third in the ACC in points this season with 21, Opoku is. As we get ready to kick this thing off, experience matters here. This Syracuse team has not been to the NCAA tournament since 2019. They only played in one tournament game last year, falling in the quarterfinals. Clemson, on the other hand, this is 4 straight finals now. They've got 9 guys that played and then won a national championship on this field last year. 4 guys that played the 2020 ACC final. How does that factor here?
It's a massive factor. There's going to be nerves going into this, whether it's your first final or your 99th. But that experience factor in terms of your rituals, how you prepare for this game, how you manage the big moments, will tell at the end of this game.
And take a look at the series history, though. That said, Clemson has been on the losing side of this the last 2 times out. This was in September. They played on September 16th in a game when Clemson was #1 in the nation. Talking to Ian McIntyre before the game, it was for Syracuse, kind of just seeing, what do we got here? We know we're coming into Clemson. Now, Usman Silla did not play, but they did beat the Tigers 2-1, and they beat them the year prior when they won the national championship, when that team didn't go to the tournament. Does that matter at all here?
If you're Clemson, you know that you have that on the bulletin board. You use that to motivate you. This was a Syracuse team that arrived, that really went from strength to strength from that game. That's why they're here. For Clemson, revenge will be on their minds.
That was a big moment, as Ian McIntyre said back in September, to kind of catapult their season. They went from, at that point, ranked just barely in the top 20 to being a mainstay in the top 10 and the top 5. They are number 3 in the nation right now. Clemson number 18, as we take the knee for unity and social justice. David Erbacher is our center official. Clemson in white, Syracuse in the orange and blue. And we're underway from Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina. The 8 seed versus the 2 seed. Preseason, Clemson, everybody thought they would probably be here. Syracuse was picked 4th in their own division in this conference. Nobody thought they would be here, but here they are after an outstanding campaign. Eldon Chifumba fouled in the midfield. There is Coach Noonan, as we mentioned. They are reigning national champs. They won this ACC tournament back in 2020. 13 years here at Clemson, 150 wins. He's 5th all-time in active wins with 375. Mohamed Say trying to head it down, goes off of Olu Olugunle, and that'll lead to a little quick corner here. Both players tap each other up after a collision. Ian McIntyre, now the reigning ACC Coach of the Year. Second time he's been bestowed that honor, had it in 2014. They won this tournament championship in 2015 as a 10 seed. All road games. Here we go, first corner of the match. Driven in by Isaiah Reed. And Reed was most outstanding player of the College Cup last year. Had 2 goals on this field when they beat Washington 2-0.
Isaiah Reed's a player who struggled with injuries this season. What a difference a year makes. But he's getting back in form. Also a good set-piece taker.
Silla's short. Looks like Reed will serve the box, and he does. This time floating back post, looking for Hamidi Diop, second team all ACC defender, tracks it down. And goes out for a goal kick. Early on in a match like this in a final, what are you trying to accomplish? If you're Syracuse, if you're Clemson, look at each side.
Both are possession teams. Clemson's more of a transition team. They want to hit on the counter, can absorb pressure, doesn't mind or don't mind sitting in a low block. For Syracuse, they are a passing team. They want to get their midfielders. They want to outnumber players in the midfield and then spring the 2 strikers with their speed.
Russell Shealy to take the goal kick, the transfer from Maryland. His second year at Syracuse, second team All-ACC keeper. Had an outstanding season. Mohamed Say flag goes up by Rick Rogers, the near side AR, as Mohamed Say offside.
Keep an eye on that, Dallin. When the ball gets kicked in the air, it's a windy day. Anything could happen if you're in that back 3. You have to be solid if you are Syracuse, because Clemson do have speed with their front 3.
Ball driven forward. Levante Johnson lets it go for Nathaniel Opoku. Low ball played in, falls to the feet of Johnson, shot, and just wide. And Joseph Ndema will get it for the goal kick. Let's go through the keys of the game, and you introduced your branded segment here. What is this called?
Oh, it's a little mood. It's the mood of the game, and today's mood, it's a championship game. The mood is motivated, and for both of these teams to be motivated to win an ACC championship, they have to do these 3 things. Number 1, first goal. In a big game like this, there's going to be emotions. First goal settles everything down. Second, transition game. Both these teams want to get at you fast and get at you often, so whichever midfield puts their stamp on the game will win that category. Last, seize the moment. In both boxes, you're going to get your chances to be a hero. Who's going to be the guy to step up and take responsibility at the final whistle?
Dug out there. Lorenzo Boselli 11, but then turned over, and Reed's offside. Quick offside again.
Clemson already showing their intent. As soon as they win the ball in midfield, that front 3 running into channels.
Poku struggling to find it in the sun. Falls to the feet of Boselli. Scored that equalizer in the semifinal match. Just minutes remaining to force overtime. Eventually they would win in PKs against UVA. Giona Leibold, the German, looking to play through Johnson. He does. Off his line is Ndema. Flag stayed down. A ricochet off of Poku, and the freshman keeper hauls it in.
That's a golden opportunity for Poku and Levante Johnson. Johnson had a 1v1 chance, finding pockets of space to run off the shoulder of defenders.
Leibold strikes it from distance, and Ndema busy early. This is a freshman that's had an outstanding season as we take a look here.
Keep an eye on the run of Levante Johnson. He runs in between both center backs for Clemson. He slows down, hesitates a bit. Good goalkeeping from Ndema. If he doesn't come off his line, Poku, or Johnson, would have much more time.
Transfer from Seattle, had a great campaign last year in a team that went to the NCAA tournament. 9 goals, 8 assists, replicated that here. Essentially 8 goals, 6 assists. Second ACC in points with 22. He's had a great season. Sheely directing traffic.
Pressure.
Brandon Parrish tries to bring it down. High boot, no call. Poku rides the challenge, pings it out wide. Feed to Diop. Attention.
See Syracuse, as soon as they win the ball, they have 4 or 5 runners looking to run in behind. That combination play between Nathan Poku and Levante Johnson, when one drops back in the pocket, the other one wants to stay high to push.
Take a look at Clemson's recent success. What Mike Noonan and his team has done has been pretty remarkable. They win the national championship last year. Again, we mentioned it's on this field. The same thing with the 2020 ACC final. The 19 ACC final, they lost to UVA, who lost in the national tournament finals as well. It's been a great run here. I mentioned how that experience, and both coaches alluded to it, really helps Clemson in this match. They know the moment. They've been here. They've been comfortable. They succeeded. 9 guys on this Clemson team played in that national championship game last year. You can't replace the experience.
You know what Mike Noonan is building? This is what a program looks like, a winning culture. It reminds me of some of our experiences that I had at Wake Forest University, getting to title games, getting to Final Fours. This is the winning standard in ACC soccer play.
Clemson also graduated. I mean, they've sent 6 guys to the pros. They're the most players drafted last year, too, to MLS. So it's not like it's the same crew. It's just guys that had experience and have grown into the roles through the adversity this year, through the injuries. They had a great year. Chifumba finally playing Reed. He comes off clumsily back to the feet of Giorgio Krzyzewski.
The experiences in finals. Mohamed Say, 2020 goal scorer in that final.
He's the only guy that started that's still on this team in that final. And they beat Pitt 2-1. Collision there, Derek Wolof. Transfer from Brown, down hard. And Diop, though, called for the foul. Quick replay.
How many Diop comes in with that right leg, clear foul on him. A bit aggressive. That's going to be a good matchup between Diop and Nathan Poku. Poku's so strong with his back to goal. Diop aggressive, coming out to defend from the back line.
Poku, the sophomore from Ghana. Diop, the junior from Dakar, Senegal. 2 guys who are both all ACC players. Poku first team, Diop second team. Diop has dealt with a lot of injuries this year. Only played in, this will be his 13th match. Only played 20. He had injury to his hamstring early. He's carrying something right now. When you know a center back is carrying something, do you attack them differently?
Absolutely. You run in behind, you test their speed. Diop's an athletic center back, very good on the ball, but he relies on his movement and mobility to recover a lot of plays and put out fires. if you're a Poku or Levante Johnson more of the speedster of the two, I would make those slashing runs, run off Diop's shoulder, and see if that hamstring blows out at any given moment.
And we talked about the injuries. Diop missing 7 games, Usman Silla missing 3, one of them being the game against Syracuse earlier in the year. Sean Smart probably be their starting right back, has missed the majority of the early part of the season. With an ankle injury, he's back and available. But there have been others, as you mentioned, Isaiah Reed, Derek Wolof missed time. They've had, outside of Mohamed Say, he's the only guy to start every match for this Clemson team. Ball whipped in, headed out. Leibold in a battle with Chifumba, and actually Leibold's going to be called for the foul there, as Chifumba remains on the deck, the sophomore from Ohio.
Leibold aggressive on this play. Didn't see much in that. Thought he had every right to go for the 50-50 challenge. Maybe it was the left shoulder nudging Chifumba in the back. Chifumba's got a big role as the anchor of that defensive midfield. One of the unsung heroes of this team. He's going to be more the destroyer than the playmaker in midfield.
Yeah, Mike Noonan has, I wouldn't say PTSD, but it's close. Every time somebody goes down, he gets nervous. It's, as we mentioned, it's been that kind of year. Diop kind of pops it out wide to Usman Silla, his countryman, Senegal juniors, and Silla goes down. Now 4th foul of the match early for Syracuse. And this could be, essentially, this is a corner played in.
Sinclair arriving just a second late. That is going to be the key matchup that Coach Ian McIntyre highlighted when we talked to him ahead of this game, saying, look, it's simple. Sinclair's job is to stop Usman Silla.
The Syracuse team, again, has had a great year. We mentioned Opoku and Johnson as first-team all-league players. Krzyzewski's third team. Curdy is as well, but Coach made it real clear. Sinclair is the first name on the team sheet. He is their guy in the middle that has to take care of a lot of different difficult players in this ACC, and today his job with Silla will be huge. Parrish to play it in. Whipped in with pace, headed down, not clear. Eventually cleared out. Enrique Montana, the right back, and struggling with the sun to see the ball come down. Parrish dispossesses Johnson, but Johnson battles back. Leibold on and head up. Leibold, the sophomore from Germany. Gets it over to Krzyzewski. Sinclair dispossessing, dangerous area. Silla's got Reed to his right, Say to his left, and he goes down, and then David Erbacher pulls out the first card, and that is going to be big, as that is Sinclair going in the book just minutes into the match.
It's good work from Usman Silla. He does the hard work, getting back behind the ball. Sinclair caught on the ball, didn't make an effective decision early, and when you're recovering as a defensive midfielder, more of a clumsy foul from Sinclair, trying to cut off the angle, Usman Silla. Silla knows that Sinclair's behind him, baiting him to get that contact. As soon as he feels it, he goes down.
And that is essentially a guaranteed yellow in transition like that. A foul in that situation is going to be yellow, so now one of your key midfielders and a physical midfielder is carrying a card just 10 minutes into the match.
That could change how he plays the rest of the way. He has to be careful.
Diop can be deadly here. The left footer does hit it. It ricochets. Wrong-footed Sheely, but does go out for a corner. Third corner of the match for the Tigers.
Hamdi Diop, seen him hit this with power and pace, goes for more placement there. Sinclair with the blocker, Salim.
Now this time, Silla Reed talking in the corner, and Silla stays short. Reed take. Dan does not beat the first defender. Fumba kind of pops it back toward the mixer. Contact there, but between Singleman and Parrish. And Say took it out of play.
It's getting a little chippy in midfield. 50-50 plays in a championship game. No one's backing out of that. If you back out of that, you're on the bench.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Another collision here between Mohamed Say and Abi Salim, who remains on the deck. Salim pulls himself off the deck, the senior from Buffalo, New York. Knee injury in the offseason, was working his way back to full health early on in the year. He's there now. And because Booster Schoberg's injury, Salim gets the start.
You see that with the duration of the NCAA season. Games come quick and fast, and in this conference tournament, you're playing a game every 3 days to get to a championship.
Clemson had to play one more game because they were not one of the top 4 seeds. How does that factor here? They played Notre Dame first and then 2 more games to get to this point.
Mike Noonan teams are some of the fittest teams in the country. These 2 teams cover a lot of ground. They're dynamic, and I don't think it's going to factor as much because Clemson, what they do well is they rotate. They get players off the bench to give effective minutes. Managing the game will be more important for Clemson, I think, in terms of numbers, bodies on the field when they come off than it is for Syracuse.
Poku. Turn back to Leibold. Shevsky in the channel wants it. They don't play him. Montana looking long. Headed down by Christian Curdy. Nice play by Parrish. Pops it out to Silla in space. Silla 1v1 with Sinclair. Thumb Silla crossed up. You're shaking your head. What happened there?
Ousmane Silla doing a bit too much. Slows the game down. Brandon Parrish had made a lung-busting run on the right-hand side. Had a step on his defender. Should have played that pass.
Johnson 1v1 with Joey Skinner, the UNCG transfer. And Johnson runs out of room. U.S. women's national team will play their final matches of the year against Germany. We'll have the second of the 2 international friendlies later today from Red Bull Arena. Germany is ranked 2nd in the FIFA World Rankings. The U.S. currently number 1. Our coverage begins at 5 Eastern, ESPN and the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. That said, the U.S. did just lose to Germany last time out on Thursday. They also lost to Spain and to England. Three straight losses. That is unheard of for our U.S. women, so be sure to check out that game at 5 o'clock today.
Bit of a rebuilding process for the women's team ahead of the all-important Women's World Cup next year.
Right around the corner. We're going to Australia.
Yep.
Taco Andonovsky and crew looking to defend their World Cup title. Leibold, German national himself, heads it down. Boselli, the Italian, clipped out. No call, and then it's brought back by David Erbacher.
Lorenzo Boselli, so good on second ball situations. He's a player in the semifinal against Virginia, grew into the game, and Chifamba clips him in the end, half a second late.
Third foul of the match for the Tigers. Boselli, interesting story, transferred from Division III, Dallas College Richland, to Syracuse and having an outstanding year. And Ian McIntyre did say, it seems like we've got to keep him on the field because he just keeps getting better every game. And there's so many big-time transfers for this team. We'll come back to that in a second. Boselli does take, flips it in back post, headed down, and Dama's there. Flag is up as well. And Boselli's one of those transfers that's critical. We mentioned Levante Johnson already, Nathan Opoku, and there are others from the year prior. Russell Shealy, the second-team All-League keeper. This is the modern way to build a team a lot of times in college soccer.
It's through the transfer portal. Yeah. Syracuse, in years past, have lost a lot of key players, underclassmen, to the MLS draft or to the professional ranks. I think the transfer portal becomes the great equalizer in this way.
Yeah, Ryan Raposo, Tejan Buchanan, DeAndre Kerr, there's Miles Robinson, a couple years prior to that, but just some big-time dudes. Tejan Buchanan, he'll be playing for the Canadian national team.
Kamal Miller playing for the national team as well.
Exactly. Miles Robinson would be our starting. I think our starting center back if he's not injured. Am I right?
I'm with you.
I say our U.S. national team starting. Yes. It isn't our, folks. It's the one time I can say that. We're going to do it. U.S. team, of course, starting as we're offside. Their World Cup in just about 10 days or 8 days. As far as things here, Clemson looking for their 5th ACC soccer championship. It's the 5th time Mike Noonan's been here. He's 2-2. They won back in 14. They won in 20. Ian McIntyre and crew. Their 2nd time here to get to a final. They won the only other appearance in 2015.
When Clemson have been the higher seed, it seems that's when the championship losses have come. When they've been the lower seed, then no silverware in the cap.
Yeah, about that. Flicked on. The flag did stay down. Johnson looked like he was offside, but maybe he wasn't active. Jude Carr, the far side AR. Joseph Ndema, an interesting story, the freshman goalkeeper from Giona. He didn't start. He played back and forth games with Trevor Mannion early in the season, but then held down the fort since the September 30th game against North Carolina. Has 8 shutouts and now in 14 appearances. But this stage with a freshman, does a freshman matter anymore? I want to come back to that real quick as Leibold's charging into the box. Now that he's gained all that experience, does him being a freshman matter now?
No. You've earned the right to be in this situation. There are no freshmen on the field except in the books.
Yeah.
For Ndema, coming off the line quickly is one thing, but his distribution, decision-making for a young goalkeeper, those are the things that matter most in championship games. If he does those things well, right time, he will have a good contribution to Clemson.
He's already had a couple big saves off his line early in this game. Syracuse threatened in the first few minutes. First corner of the match. Boselli to take. And David Urbacher is going to pull it back, and good finish by Christian Curdy, but it's all for naught. That was can they run that back?
Yeah, we'll get the pitching gun to see the miles an hour on
there
that.
You go. Good punch by Ndema.
That's a good way for Syracuse on a young goalkeeper to crowd him out. Ndema, an undersized goalkeeper for Clemson.
6-foot freshman, Montverde Academy. He's got 8 shutouts this season. He doesn't qualify for the ACC statistics yet because it has to be 75% of the games. He's played 14 of 19, so after today he will. But he does qualify for the NCAA. He's 7th in the nation with that many shutouts, tied for 12th with Russell Shealy, the other goalkeeper in this game, in save percentage. Boselli to take this one. Outswing ball toward the penalty spot. Leibold, first-time strike, vicious. And Ndema calls off his teammates and hauls it in.
Leibold had to see that play through, because if he misses that or gets that wrong, Usman Silla would have been 1v1 with the last defender at midfield.
Well, Gunlay tried to play a quick. Kashevsky's first touch let him down. Parrish digs it out. Well done by Say. 6'3" center, 6'3" senior, excuse me. Good feet, good passer, as well as physical body.
Clemson doing a good job of swinging the ball side to side. A lot of their outlet has come to this left-hand side, and the last couple opponents did a good job of switching the field and switching the point of attack.
Great pass by Say. He unlocks him. Chifumba in space, cuts it back to nobody. Very rarely does Chifumba find himself in the box, and it looked like that.
He took my thought. I was saying maybe not the guy you want in the final third making that final pass, but late runs from midfield. That could be a way to unbalance this Syracuse back line. Syracuse's back line is always so quick to drop and absorb pressure. There's going to be pockets of space in front of their back three that Usman Silla, Brandon Parrish, maybe Derek Wolof can pop into.
Pop forward, Leibold trying to win the race with Lundegaard on him, and he does. Good step by the center back. And eventually goes out and will remain the orange possession.
Lundegaard has big shoes to fill. Last season, Clemson, their back line, it was Oscar Ogren, senior captain, who's now in the pros.
Yeah. George Marks, I mean, they got Justin Malou, all these guys got drafted. And Hamidi Diop, the only returning player, might fall to the feet of Boselli. Bounces around, Boselli's there! It's goal 1-0! Fell to his feet, and he remains hot. Equalizer in the semifinal, gives him the lead in the final.
So many good things can happen if you're a midfielder, attacking midfielder, if you follow plays through. Boselli does just that. In championship games, balls can be pinballing in your opponent's box. But as I said in Lahoud Mood, who's going to seize the moment when it comes your way? Good hold-up play from Opoku, but keep an eye on the streaking run of Boselli. When that ball pinballs in the back of the net, Clemson does not react fast enough, and Boselli has the composure and the technique to rifle that in. And Ndema dives one way, and that ball, there's no saving that. Just muscles that into the back of the net.
Big goal for Boselli and this Syracuse team, 12-0-2 when they score first. The opponent scores first for the Tigers. They are 2-4 on the campaign for Clemson. So Ian McIntyre and crew sitting pretty ahead now. The finals are always different, and as we mentioned, this Clemson team has been through some things in some big games. They've gone down and found ways to come back and win games. Would that be last year's tournament? But Syracuse, what a start for them as Boselli capitalized on that loose ball.
They'd be kicking themselves if they hadn't got a goal going into halftime. They've gotten the most dangerous chances. Levante Johnson, 2 of them. Boselli rectifying that with a good finish.
Poku riding the challenge, looking for more. Poku eventually crowded out by Diop, and Diop has the release to Silla. Good cover by Abdi Salim. Taking a look at the goal here by Boselli.
Keep an eye on Boselli's movement. Runs from midfield. He just checks off the shoulder. Chipfamba loses him. Gets caught ball watching. Errant touch. Ball pinballing, but nothing lucky about that strike. Goes through with the laces.
Third goal in the campaign, and as we mentioned, consecutive games when it matters most. He had the equalizer with just 5 minutes remaining in the semi, and he gets him on the right foot here in the final.
And that's the balance he provides alongside Kuchevsky.
Say trying to bring it down on his chest, can't.
Boselli will be the one who runs looking more like the attacking midfielder. Kuchevsky wants to come back and dictate play, more like a box-to-box midfielder.
Diop usually great with his distribution out of the back, one of the best center backs in the country. Plays it out to Joey Skinner. He'll take the space. Looking for options. Slide rule pass. Almost got it through to Silla. Sinclair there, though. Cover.
Sinclair had to read that pass well. He's going to be Usman Silla's shadow pretty much for the next 24 hours. He might even follow him to the airport.
Not if they win. He might do some celebrating.
Yeah.
Skinner trying to cut back inside. See, Russell Shealy here, this is, how difficult is it for a keeper to work in a shadow, really just around his goal?
It can be disorienting a bit. You misjudge the flight of the balls. I always think it's harder to work in the sun when that ball is coming your way. It can be a bit of a respite for him, but when you're coming out, you have to manage when you come out aggressively and when you stay on your line. Keepers misjudge that and ends up being an errant play.
We have seen some guys put their hands up trying to find a ball in the air early in this match, so Ndema is on the other side of this coin, if you will. Parrish gets drilled hard by Kuchevsky. David Erbacher will stop the clock as Parrish holding his head. They're going to bring out the trainer.
Kuchevsky didn't know much about this. He turned his head and didn't really go for the ball. Hopefully Parrish is okay. Parrish not seeing Kuchevsky. It's the back of Kuchevsky that hits Parrish in the back of the head.
Again, Brandon Parrish has been on fire, folks, the last few games. Back-to-back games with goals, and beautiful goals at that. And as Mike Noonan, as he walks across the field, Noonan always comes to check on his players, which I appreciate that and note that. Said he's a hot player. And for me, I'm a hoops guy at heart. So I said, what's a hot player look like in soccer? How would you describe it?
It's when the game slows down. I remember that in some of my best games in NCAA play. Everything's moving in slow motion. You see things one step ahead, and you're willing to try things you normally wouldn't if you're not full of confidence. And some of his goals, the first goal he scored against Duke, that is a YouTube highlight reel, world-class dribbling ability and the composure to finish. But that Wake goal, you can't teach that.
Yep. Goal from Wake about 25 yards out, and the dribbling through about 4 defenders and the goalkeeper, rounded the keeper in Duke, and put that game away. So he's up and on his feet and waiting to check back in. The junior from Tennessee, 2 times Gatorade Tennessee Player of the Year. As the coaches make their way and trainer off the pitch, we will get things underway again. And Clemson has been on a roll. First time they've allowed a goal in 211 minutes. 5-0 they've been. 5 straight wins. They've outscored their opponents 13-2 in that stretch. But surrendering that goal here.
And that was something Mike Noonan said. What was the difference between their form at the start, in the middle, and how they found their way? He said defensively. The goals, they've had the blueprint and the talent to score goals. Goals haven't been the problem. It's the number of goals they were conceding in the middle of the season that was a big worry.
I mean, the Wake Forest game was a clinic defensively. Wake Forest's season low in shots was 10. I think they had 4 in that game, and 2 of those came in the last a couple minutes of the game, they were down 2-0.
I was watching that game at halftime. One shot for the Demon Deacons. Yeah. Demon Deacons leading the conference in shots taken. That's uncanny.
It was impressive what the Clemson Tigers did defensively and have done defensively in this run, but Syracuse has unseated them. A bit fortunate to have the bounce, but Syracuse has had the better of the chances. Had they had the better of the play to this point in time?
I think Clemson's probably had the better of the play, but Syracuse doing well to get forward faster. On that Usman Silla counterattack, Brandon Parrish does well to find him in the pocket. Silla taking too many touches. You've seen that become a habit for the Tigers in this first half.
Syracuse up 1-0 through a Lorenzo Boselli goal in the 21st minute. Monte Johnson almost able to bring that down in spectacular fashion to turn, but couldn't pull it off. Alongside Michael LaHood, I'm Dallin Cuff here. Wake Men's Soccer Park, ACC Men's Soccer Championship Final. Clemson looking for their 5th title in history. Syracuse looking for their 2nd. Michael won a national championship here in 2007 with Wake Forest. Knows quite a bit about playing in big-time games. I have to mention, I won't mention his name, no. But you did lose to a BC team in the ACC final. Do you even remember that? The fact you won a national title, does that just put it out of your head a little bit?
No, I remember that game so much. Played in 2 ACC championship games, once against the Duke Blue Devils. I wish they showed up as the Blue that day. But 07, the year we won, I won Charlie Davies, who you know very well, Alejandro Bedoya, a very good Boston College team's underdogs going into that game. And they took us to the woodshed and deserved winners that day.
First sub of the match about to come on here. Alvaro Gomez, and Gomez used to be a lock starter for this team, but because Parrish has been so hot, he's moved out of that starting role. But the senior from Spain, his 70th appearance for Clemson. He played in that 2020 final. He was started in the 2021 national championship game. He comes in for Elton Chifumba. Remember, Chifumba is carrying a yellow card.
Replaces number 8, Elton Chifumba.
Look for Gomez coming in to bring the energy. Such a spark plug in midfield. One of the most consistent players for Clemson over the last couple seasons.
Sorry, Chifumba's not carrying a yellow.
Sinclair.
Sinclair is 5 orange. Bad clerical error by me right there. One of those things, as soon as you say it, I'm like, can I put it back in my mouth? I don't think that's right. I just said something.
The blue.
The blue.
It must be that. I set you up.
Headed down nicely by Boselli. Still Boselli. He's got Noah Singleman there. And Derek Wolof wins the race. The transfer from Brown, first-team All-Ivy guy. Scored in back-to-back games here in the tournament. First ever Clemson goals at the biggest times in the quarterfinal and the semi. A lot of space there. Bad first touch by Johnson. Still looking for Say on the outlet.
Monte Johnson will be kicking himself. He took a good angle. But those are the little details that if you're going to be one of the key strikers in this conference and moving forward for Syracuse.
Say was mad because he didn't get the foul with him and Sinclair battling. He went into the bench. He got up with the intent, you could see, to lay a little lumber on Sinclair, and he did just that. No, doesn't go to the book, but it is a foul.
Mohamed Say's had a couple big tackles on player Salim. He knocked down to the ground. Maybe the next one becomes a yellow card.
Could be a persistent infringement situation. Leibold tries to control it. Ooh, him and Montana into a big tackle. Montana then wins possession there.
I like that for Montana. Very fiery player, emotional player for Clemson. In that first round game against Notre Dame, he did get the assist. Beautiful cross from out wide.
Here's that collision with Sinclair and Say.
Salim going shoulder to shoulder. Mohamed Say. You see that from strikers. They keep receipts. They never forget. As potent as has been, Russell Shealy hasn't had much to do so far in this half.
Shevsky, Poku's touch is heavy and a turnover by Gomez. Transition opportunities are big for this Clemson team. Gomez tries to play the outside of the boot pass to Reed. And not connect.
Gunmu doing well to just give him that body, disrupting the run of Isaiah Reed. Reed, such a speedster, showed in the national championship game. Makes good runs off the ball with Gomez. Picks up his head. He's waiting for Isaiah Reed to show him where he wants that ball, but the defender doing well to nudge him off, disrupt that path.
And foul picked up here on Poku. Mentioned the national championship game. That was against the University of Washington last year. Clemson won 2-0. Reed scored 30 seconds into the match. Mistake by Sam Falvey, but he capitalized, and his second goal was a beauty. That said, Washington just lost their first game of the year a couple days ago to Oregon State. And Duke lost, obviously, to Clemson. So there's one remaining unbeaten team in the nation. That is Kentucky, who's going to play in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, kicking off around 1 o'clock Eastern time. Johnson in some space. He'll give it a ride, and Dama there.
This looks more like the Devontae Johnson we've seen throughout the season. Very busy, very active, dropping off into pockets of space, using his athleticism, low center of gravity, very agile. Just when you think that he's going to lose the ball, he can get in front of you, and he does. Very strong on the ball.
The guard stepping into midfield a bit, and then wants to play the long switch. He will not hesitate to get forward.
He has to be careful when he gets forward. There's a massive gap. Lundegaard does not have the speed to go up against the Poku in transition.
Trying to play it around the bend to Say. And a well for a corner. Well done by Say.
To applaud that extra effort. In championship games, you have to give the extra effort to get something going for Clemson. Hasn't really been their half. Down the goal. Justin Curdy hesitating to kick that ball out. That's what sets up a dangerous corner kick play.
Marco Garcia, the freshman from Italy, checks in.
Isaiah Reed. And stepping on for the Orange, number 7, Kurt Kalov.
And Kurt Kalov just checked in the game as well. Played this corner short. Nice move by Silla. Gets end line. He's got options. Pinged around. Still not clear. Now it is. And Kalov comes on for Levante Johnson. And another sub here for Syracuse. Well, Julio Fulcar going to get in the match. Only his second game of the season.
Another Syracuse substitution.
Working himself back to full health, the grad student. One of the key guys on this team that's not been able to play. And Mia McIntyre said he's our heart and soul, as well as a number of other guys that aren't getting minutes, but are integral to this team's success. And Fulcar getting in here.
For Syracuse, it's the epitome of the culture that they've built. It's what leads to a championship run. What you see on the field is a microcosm of what happens off the field. This is a winning formula, a winning culture. Both teams really emphasize that in how they build a program.
And Colin Byros now coming on for the goal scorer, Lorenzo Boselli, grad student, former Akron University transfer. He has some big game experience, played and scored a goal in the Elite Eight win over Stanford a few years back when he was at Akron. Also had the penalty that pushed them through. He had the final penalty in the shootout against UVA. As Montana comes forward. And will Parrish get to it? He will. Parrish trying to play one in. Trying to skip past Krzyzewski, and he can't. The two players we highlighted in the open of the show going head-to-head there. And Krzyzewski wins that battle.
Krzyzewski so good going forward, but in this game he's impressed most defensively. Not pulling out of 50-50 challenges. Going up against the red-hot Brandon Parrish.
With the switch to Skinner. Skinner cuts it back, looking for Say. Say dinks it over the top to Silla. And Silla will draw another corner. Fifth of the match for Clemson. And taken quickly. Changed the angle, low ball driven in and sent back out.
Alvaro Gomez chooses to go for the shot, but when you have a player who's so good 1v1, and dribbling like Usman Silla. Silla going up against Sinclair, who's on the yellow card. You have to play Usman Silla.
Well, with a nice little pocket of space. He rides the challenge. Out to Garcia. Garcia working on Oyagunle. Ooh, good cutback. Defended though. Senior from Ontario, Oyagunle. Sophomore from Ontario, excuse me. Say, laid it back, looking for the layoff to Silla, but Sinclair was there to get a foot on it.
Nathan Opoku's done that so well in this half. His hold-up play. That's so key if you're going to be a team that's going to absorb pressure and break out on the counter. You need your center forwards to be very good and solid with their backs to goal.
Byros. Pumps it out of play. Give you a chance to tell you about the 12th annual State Farm Champions Classic. Day, number 4 Kentucky takes on Michigan State in our first game at 7. Michigan State just played an aircraft carrier against Gonzaga a couple days ago. Then we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings between games. After that, number 7 Duke squares off against number 5 Kansas, the reigning national champions. Always a fantastic night of the year. Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, things start on ESPN.
It's definitely going to be a good game. Duke, Kansas. Oof.
Duke, Kansas. The Michigan State, Kentucky game's going to be great.
Yeah, college hoops are back.
Here we go, buddy. Much to the dismay of my brain this time of year. But
yeah, you're going to be a busy man.
And Cuse is getting ready to make another sub as Say ties his shoe. David Erbacher will not allow him in. Does not Syracuse possession at this moment. Diop plays it to Silla. Second team All-ACC to first team All-ACC. Garcia can't bring it down on his chest.
This is where if you're Syracuse, the next 10 minutes are crucial. You've done so well to establish the lead and really been the better team, but Clemson.
Oh, cleaned out as Diop play on, says Erbacher. And now he'll pull it back. In a dangerous area. We talked about that center back. He will take the space and step forward.
To finish off that thought, but Clemson really stepping up things. Do not drop off. You can't sit deep and absorb pressure for the rest of the half. Clemson are so dangerous, so potent. They get their goals, and have gotten goals before halftime.
It almost looked like a 2-footed challenge. Should that be a card?
I think that was worthy of a yellow card.
It was a
bit reckless. Yeah.
That was reckless. Yeah, eighth foul, but Abdi Salim does not go in the book there. And Alvaro Gomez over the ball. Parrish wants the ball in the back post. He's unmarked. Gomez goes for goal. Now there could be a breakout the other way. Played through, an opportunity here. Flag stays down. Shot in the back of the net. 2-0. What a counter the other way. Giona Leibold. The lightning quick strike from the Orange, and they're up 2-0.
This play starts with good defending. Keep an eye on Sinclair. He blocks this free kick effort, and it springs Syracuse races. Credit to Kalov. He has his head up, and when he sucks the defender over, it creates an amazing running lane for Giona Leibold with the speed, with the intensity, but the composure in the end. When he picks up his head, he sees Ndema off his line. That is a massive gap for him to run into. Incredible finish. What a way to capitalize on a set-piece opportunity for Syracuse.
That is tough if you're, what a pass by Callum, first of all. And to your point, to bring the defender over, then to feed it through perfectly in stride to Leibold, his 4th goal of the season. At a huge time, as it looked like Clemson was going to have an opportunity on one end and back go the Orange the other way.
And prior to that, the last 10 minutes has all been Clemson. Clemson having the majority of the ball, Syracuse dropping off, subs being made. I thought some of that intensity was starting to wane a bit, but Leibold against Virginia, he had to run late in the game, and I think it was overtime. He almost got in the end of that. And one guard getting tripped up in the end.
This is number 7,
Byro's on it now in a pocket of space. Orange looking for more, trying to pour it on here. Win their second ACC men's soccer championship. Leibold played just wide. Let's take another look because the Clemson bench is upset. They think it's offside. Here's the look.
Oh, he's clearly onside. Kalov doing well. He drags 2 defenders with him. I thought it was just one. And credit to Leibold for holding that run.
Yeah.
Leibold knows he has his defender beat for pace. You see players all around the world at any level over eager to run in behind, knowing they have all that space and all that real estate to cover.
And we're trying to take a look and see what happened here.
Stepping on right at the restart.
To Lundegaard, who's down injured right now.
Prior to that, there was a 50-50 challenge with Nathan Opoku. Lundegaard got the ball stuck under his feet, and Opoku maybe got a knee to the back, an inadvertent contact.
Now on for the Orange. Number 28, Francesco Pagano. He replaces number 10, Nathan Opoku.
Take a look, bottom of your screen here. We can check what happened to Lundegaard as he's struggling to get to his feet. Just that contact there. And
wasn't much in that contact. I think it was previous contact with Opoku that leads to it. Definitely walking gingerly. Hopefully he's okay.
Redshirt freshman from Maryland. Trialed with West Ham a couple years back in the English Premier League club. Redshirted last year, started every game this year that he was available for. 17 of 17, now 18 starts. He started jog. We'll see if he can stay on. There was another change made by the Orange in the break there. Francesco Pagano came in the game, number 28 in the middle of your screen there, the sophomore. Comes in for Opoku, sophomore from New York, 2-time high school All-American.
Lundegaard, just that extra touch, loses his balance, and Nathan Opoku, inadvertent contact, does catch him in the back, maybe in lower back or kidney area.
Clemson has not been down 2-0, not allowed 2 goals and a half since the Wake Forest game on September 24th, which was a 6-1 win by Wake Forest. Now, that said, Clemson in that game, the first 30 minutes, they had chances, they had opportunities. Wake was much better in the box. They were clinical. 2-0 at the break. Wake scored their 3rd goal to start the second half. And as Mike Noonan said before, our guys stopped competing. And then Wake poured it on 6-1. I wonder if they learned from that. How do you bounce back? How do you respond now? Because this is everything to play for. You got to find a way back in this thing.
You don't give up the 3rd goal going into half. That's number 1. That cannot happen or else it's game over. But Mike Noonan is a tackle ingenuity, but he's a motivator. He knows how to rile up his team. He will have to have the halftime talk of the season to get them back in this game.
5.5 to go. See if Clemson can get anything else back in this half. But Syracuse has created more of the chances in this game, and they've capitalized on them. Although, as we said before, Clemson may have the better of the play at times. In the Big East Conference Championship game, Creighton is up 3-0. Georgetown, number 1 seed. And Georgetown really started to write their season over the last 5 or 6 weeks, but that is not the finish they're going to want to have going into the NCAA tournament.
It's going to have a big impact on seeds.
True. That's very true.
This is not the time of year you want to have a drop-off with the tournament right around the corner. That can home field advantage.
Again, the 48-team tournament in men's college soccer. 16 teams get a first-round bye. All campus site games up and through the quarterfinals. The semifinals actually in the College Cup right here at Wake Soccer Park. But November 14th, which is tomorrow, we will have the full bracket revealed, and those top 16 are coveted. And, of course, the higher up, the better, to maintain home field as long as you can.
Some of the initial looks we've seen at the top 16 revealed. Heavy ACC presence, typical in college soccer. This year, I think, given how some of the teams like a Carolina have performed against quality opposition, could they sneak in and be that final team?
And now Carolina seems just on the bubble, 35 in the RPI. They'll find out their fate tomorrow. Carlos Samuano was on that committee, and this made another opportunity. 1v1 with Montana, cut back, and then eventually dispossessed in the end zone. Camden Holbrook.
Again, it's Kalov. Kalov bringing a bit of extra skill, popping the ball over the top. Such a good passer. Able to have the vision to pick out Holbrook.
Byros to take, and cleared out.
Not too deep. DP, step time. No bigs, no screens. Yep. Smart.
Byros, this one floated back post. And Dama comes out to claim. And Sinclair got good purchase of that header.
He's confident. Collect from Ndema. Again, Syracuse crowding out that 6-yard box. Ndema aggressive when the ball. Good intervention from Salim. Ndema aggressive when the ball's on the ground, not so much off his line, off crosses and corner kicks.
Long goal kick, eventually, I thought it was just brought down by Diop, but he pops it up and keeps it in the air. Now Diop settles it a bit, trying to dribble through some defenders.
Diop, a bit casual on that play.
Garcia called for the foul. Garcia's youth career interesting. Grew up in a smaller academy in Italy, but he played the Giants. He played Old Lady, Juventus, played AC Milan, Inter Milan, so growing up around some really great soccer.
Those were big teams last time I checked, right?
Well, Juventus is having a bit of a struggle. Yeah. Inter's been good. Krzyzewski, first time into the Raptors. Coming up at halftime, we'll have the great Jim Phillips will be joining us to talk a little bit about the 21st century model in college soccer and some big things going on around the world of college sports. Obviously, you'll see the goals from Lorenzo Boselli and Giona Leibold to give Syracuse the 2-0 lead they are enjoying at this moment.
You know, it's a big game when the commission's in the house.
The commission came to hand out the hardware. He's done it a lot all year. This one skips through. Say trying to get turned. Nice little dink forward. Under 50 seconds. And goal kick.
Good work from Kalov. He's been active on both ends.
See Syracuse leading at half. 9-0-0 on the campaign. Clemson, when trailing at half, have come back. 4-2.
The Tigers are not done yet.
No, definitely not.
They're definitely a second half team. Although they have gotten goals towards the end of the first half, but more of a second half team.
Byros lays it forward. Flip back in. Will be another attempt here. Holbrook on it. The Cary, North Carolina native lays it in front. And foul was called prior to that, and that ends the first half. And the Tigers find themselves up 2-0 after the first 45.
Just that we had to get back to playing Clemson instead of Syracuse. It's, you know, we got caught up playing a little bit too much in their game, and transition beat us. So, you know, they got a lucky bounce on the first goal. But other than that, if we are Clemson in the second half, we'll be much better off.
Coach, where do you think you could get after Syracuse to get back in this game?
No, we just got to possess the ball a little bit more and get the ball in the penalty box and deliver our restarts better. We haven't missed out the first guy yet on the restart. So those are three things that we got to do a lot better.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Right, thanks, guys.
Over the top, Noah Singleman here in a lot of space. Lays it back and deflected. I thought Apoku was going to make it 3-0, but it looked like Hamidi Diop got a leg on it.
Noah Singleman doing well to get to the end line, but Why not the early service? Levante Johnson was begging for that, made the good initial run.
And Say's passes. Look at this.
When Singleman comes, it's a brilliant ball, good diagonal. The width that Singleman provides is good, but that extra touch there that allows Clemson's back line to recover. And Hamdi Diop, you got it spot on, made a last-ditch effort and had to get that correct. If he misses on that, then Nathan Opoku was slotting that in.
The Orange starting the second half just like they started the first. Dangerous attack right away.
What Syracuse did as they grew into that game was shifting Clemson to one side. Clemson doesn't have enough width in midfield, so that's going to...
Johnson might run onto this one. And Damo retreats back to his line. He gets there. Lays it off. Opportunity shot just north of the goal there from Krzyzewski.
Good look from Krzyzewski. Hasn't gotten in the box as much as we've seen him do in previous games. Been more of the tackler in midfield, more of a destroyer in the first half.
Marcilla call for the foul. First team All-ACC performer. He's been kept pretty quiet in this match. That was Anthony Sinclair's job. Sinclair's right next to him there. And your shot.
That's credit to Sinclair. Yellow card early. More measured performance from him. And when you're on the early yellow card as a defensive midfielder, you get good practice at being better defensively, being more disciplined. You have to pick and choose when you're going to be aggressive and when you're just going to stand your ground.
Carl Gomez riding the challenge nicely. From Boselli, the goal scorer, plays it out wide to Say. Mohamed Say, the big senior, 6'3" from Spain, got great feet and size, gets it back, lays it off to Gomez. Gomez shot deflects. It does not deflect and goes out for a goal kick.
Much better from Clemson, runs from midfield. Gomez, the spark plug coming off the bench in the first half. Mohamed Say with the drop of the shoulder unbalances the back line for Syracuse. Too much space at the top of the box, a rush shot from Alvaro Gomez in the end. Notice that Clemson, a formation change from them. They were playing a 4-3-3 in the first half. But to get numerical advantage in the middle of the park, Usmancella's dropped in as an attacking midfielder. It's shifted to a 4-3-1-2.
I'll ask you in a second what you think that will do as Wallach comes up in possession. So what do you think that will do or afford them opportunity?
It allows Usmancella to get the ball in pockets of spaces in front of Syracuse's back three, if you will, to run. Or maybe that interchange between him and Mohamed Say. Say likes to be the hold-up guy, to drop off, and that allows running lanes for Usmancella to run in behind. Makes Clemson's attack a lot more dynamic.
See if they benefit from that. Singleman pops it up in the air. Isaiah Reed trying to run onto it, but Leah Gunlay wise to it. Good challenge by Montana. Parrish, no ball played into space. Neither Wallach nor Silla can get to it.
Singleman read that well. I tell you, boy, Gunlay's had a good game so far. Has those long legs, some of the tackles he's made. Been impressed.
Joey Skinner getting forward, Johnson getting back. Still Skinner there. He has the opportunity to play it back. He takes a shot. And Mohamed Say has his arms out and saying, "How did you not pass it to me?" But the defender wanted it.
Also, Russia blood to the head. That's why he doesn't pass it. Going for glory on this play. And it's a miscue, just as I was saying. Good defending from the Tigers. Salim bundles over Levante Johnson, which creates that pocket of space for Joey Skinner. And when you're in a championship game, you have to make the right play. And the right play was to play to Mohamed Say.
Sixth quarter of the match for Clemson. And Russell Shealy is one of the best keepers in the country. Second team All-ACC. You got to do something real special to beat him from that angle.
Oh, he cuts off the angle. He comes off his line. Very brave.
Reed to play it in. Good service. Skinner trying to make up for it. Got crushed there. And he wants a call, but that means you're never really going to get that as a pen unless there's an elbow in that situation.
The only thing you're going to get is the referee putting his hand down to help you off the ground. nothing other than that.
David Urbacher, our center official today. As he chested down, Reed deflects up and eventually the arms of Sheely. Whenever you're in matches like this down 2-0, whether you're either team, because next goal is pretty much going to decide.
Yeah.
If the third goal scored, it's a wrap. If the goal scored by the team that has nil, here we go. Do you feel like a different pressure? How do you approach it mentally when you're on either side?
If you're Clemson, this is kind of nothing to lose at this moment because you played your worst half.
Yeah.
You've had your worst moments, and you're down 2-0. Ball pinballing in the box for the first one, and you get beat on your own set piece.
Yeah.
Now you're really going to go for it. You're going to see Clemson taking more chances than they did in the first half. If you're Syracuse, the mental factor comes in, the mentality. If you drop off, as Coach McIntyre said, Clemson does have enough goal scorers and attacking pieces to punish you. You don't want to start defending a championship. Be on the front foot. Whatever team's in the front foot in the second half will have the better half and more of a chance on the trophy.
And David Urbacher's going to pull this back. There was a little confusion. There was trying to be a quick restart. The Clemson fans in Paris was not happy with the foul call to begin with. And now it's sorted out as quick restart pulled back. Syracuse made a lot of subs in the first half. They went back to their starting lineup. If you're just tuning into college soccer, you can leave the match in the first half and come back in the second. In the second half, you can leave and re-enter one time. Say tries to pop the Usman Silla. On the other side, only 2 changes made by Mike Noonan. He did really not go deep into that bench. And Alvaro Gomez stays on for Elton Chifamba.
I'm surprised by that. Clemson really looked shell-shocked after they went down with that first goal, and sometimes getting some of your key players a rest can give them a different perspective on how to impact the game. Against Duke, they made a lot of changes even before they got that goal.
Joey Skinner on the ball. He's sophomore, grad transfer from UNC Greensboro. His first team All-Southern Conference last year. Has 2 big goals this year for Clemson. Wanted to make it 3. Couldn't connect there. He just went through. Leibold, second goal scorer, skipping around some challenges. And he continues his run. Can't quite control it. Appeals for handball, no call.
The way Giona Leibold plays and how he runs, how direct he is, how persistent he is, he reminds me a lot of Paul Arriola in Major League Soccer.
Who unfortunately was just left off the U.S. national team, was one of the final cuts.
Not that Paul Arriola. No, for sure. Such a bummer for him and the players who didn't make it. And obviously, we give our best to the U.S. men's national team in Qatar.
And we're starting against Wales here in 8 days, which is insane to me. There's the last Premier League fixtures being played like right now.
Oh.
But here's where we are. Wallace trying to step forward, 50-50 ball, big collision. He's down hard. Him and Sinclair. Trainer. And Urbacher's saying, bring out the trainer immediately. Off the grad transfer from Brown, all-Ivy performer last year, 2 goals, back-to-back games here in this tournament.
Sinclair, no stranger to big tackles, and Sinclair, the windup on that is what leaves Wallach in a heap. Yeah, whenever your ankle is exposed and flexed, you are leaving yourself in a very precarious position, and it's good to see him up on his feet, but oof.
Well, they're working on Wallach. There are other conference championships going on right now. Kentucky up 1-0, the only now unbeaten team in the nation. They are taking on James Madison up 1-0, almost 20 minutes into it.
What a season they've had, and what a team they've been in the last couple years in NCAA soccer play. They're a team, when you look at their body of work and their RPI, and you're thinking #1 teams in the country, Syracuse will be in that conversation if they were to win. But Kentucky, they've already beaten a couple ACC teams. It'll help bolster their case.
Yeah, took down Louisville early in the season. And when you look at Kentucky as Wallach walks off, they're likely to be the #1 seed if they win their conference championship. And you could easily make an argument that if Syracuse wins this one, they could be 2. Washington just following this past week. They don't have a conference tournament in the Pac-12. And they're going to change out Wallach, it looks like. Elton Chifamba up off the bench.
8 for 16. You can go. Thank you.
Here comes Chifamba.
8 for 16. Thank you.
The sophomore from Ohio, Crew Academy product. Chifumba re-entering the match. Now he started in place of Alvaro Gomez. Started 16 of 17 games this year, so not an unfamiliar place for him to come back in. And now more another collision here. And a flag is, a card is brandished by David Erbacher on Brandon Parrish.
He could have given a flag for that as well. With Parrish, yeah. A bit of a reckless challenge from Parrish. This is the point in the game where both players on either team, and it's because he leaves his feet early. That's why the referee says dangerous play on that.
Substitution for the Tigers.
This is the point in the game where you're going to see the emotions really start to come to life because you're realizing, hey, there's a trophy on the line.
He replaces 16.
Yeah, he's placed it first. Under a little bit of pressure. Whoa. Often from the second team All-ACC defender.
There was a yellow card issued to Clemson's number 11, Brandon Parrish.
Sinclair picks up the ball and attempt distribution. Leibold, running at defenders. And that last touch, a little heavy.
Start the second half, Syracuse really upping the high press, trying to pin Clemson back, and this comes off a turnover. Good pressure from Sinclair. Giona Leibold oozing with confidence, slamming by players. Just a little bit too much, though. That's when that extra bit of composure, putting the foot on the ball and connecting with a teammate comes in handy.
And Mohamed Say fouled by Curdy. And ball goes out to play again. We'll tell you about the Big Ten Championship. Rutgers now up 2-1 on IU. Scarlet Knights looking for that automatic bid. Indiana institution in college soccer starting to an up and down season. Fell to this Clemson team in their opener down in Clemson, 3-2. A great game we got to call.
That'd be a massive result for Rutgers to knock off a powerhouse like Indiana. Indiana, part of the national championship game a couple years ago.
Yep.
Fell short to Marshall.
That Marshall, the Thundering Herd, folks. You got to bring it to be a fan of that team. They were fully lubricated, let's say that. They were here at like 2 o'clock for a 6-7 p kickoff. A lot of green, a lot of fans. They got to see a national championship for Coach Grassley and crew.
They stormed the field after that?
They had the herd came down. It was a melee in the corner.
Yeah, I had my brother-in-law in St. Louis text me.
It was awesome. Extra time goal and first ever championship for Marshall. Now Gomez head up, looking to play Say in the channel, but Say was offside and just not quite synced up. Chance to tell you about the U.S. women's national team. They'll play their final matches of the year against Germany, and we'll have the second of 2 international friendlies later today from Red Bull Arena. Germany ranked number 2, U.S. ranked number 1, although Germany did just beat the U.S. the last time out. 5 o'clock Eastern, watch on ESPN or the ESPN app. Oh, good move by Poku. Shoots it right in the arms of Adema, but looked good. Quick distribution, and Parrish isn't going to get there in time. Well played in the midfield. Boselli, the goal scorer.
Details and little plays that Syracuse has gotten right in this game. But here we go. Moncella almost off to the break. It's the 50-50s.
What have they done to keep this? Susilo, we've not said his name much. He's not been as integral as usually he needs to be when they're playing well. It's something that Syracuse has done.
It's bringing support over. It's not just a one-man job. Sinclair has been tasked to keep an eye on Scylla, but when you have a player of Scylla's quality, it's sending support. In soccer, it's pressure, cover, balance. It's the cover that Syracuse has implemented that's made the difference.
Clemson trying to possess the ball more, as their coach Mike Noonan told us at the break what they need to do, but haven't done it to much success in this half. They created a couple chances early in the half, but the last 7 or 8 minutes it's been just back and forth.
Alvaro Gomez, that chance he had at the top of the box, if he could sort his feet out, maybe that could have been the difference to get them back on the scoreboard and back in the game. Looking at Clemson's formation, it's an amoeba, ever shifting from that 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3. At a certain point, I wonder if they go to a back three to match up 1v1 with Syracuse's 3-5-2.
It was interesting that Ian McIntyre did say, because that's the way that George Gelnevach and UVA play, that's tough for them. It's hard when you see the same formation in a mirror like that, and UVA and Syracuse have had some great games this year.
In that game, Syracuse's front two were very frustrated, did not get a lot of service.
See a read over the top, now plays Skinner in the channel. What a recovery run by Abdi Salim. And Skinner deflects it, so he'll have an opportunity. He's got players in the box, and gonna want that one back too.
Yeah, I'll be kicking himself, doing well. Second time we've seen Salim have a miscue that frees up Skinner.
Alvaro Gomez was standing there wanting to pull back toward the top of the box. Salim, the senior from Buffalo, worked his way back from injury from the spring into full health now and played well in this game so far. Gomez fouled by Boselli.
Boselli just a bit too overeager on Gomez, and if you're Boselli and you just stand your ground, Gomez wasn't going anywhere. Maybe you force a turnover.
Gertie, poor touch, Reed on the run. Couldn't get that second touch. We know he's a big game scorer. Did it in the national championship game last year. 2 goals, was the College Cup most outstanding player. He's also scored in the Pitt. It was the automatic qualifier game from the spring of 2021. Because they already had the 2020 season, technically with COVID, but he scored in that game as well, which was kind of like a faux championship, if you will. Popped out to Singleman. He's got numbers and space. He drives it, and Dama saved.
Syracuse springing on the counterattack again. Kashevsky, the architect of it. In the second half, Noah Singleman has had open looks. Clemson's narrow midfield getting exposed with the width of Syracuse. Singleman thought that the pass, and maybe the first time cross again into Nathan Opoku was a better option, but opting for the shot.
Sixth corner for Cuse. Boselli to take. Scored the opening goal of the match. No ball. William Gunlay pings it out wide. Leibold's pass too much on. Here at Wake Men's Soccer Park, the ACC Men's Soccer Championship. Syracuse up 2-0 behind 2 first-half goals from Lorenzo Boselli and Giona Leibold. Alongside Michael LaHood, I'm Dallin Cuff. Syracuse looking for their second ACC men's soccer title. Clemson playing in their 4th straight final in terms of this venue in each year. They played the national championship in 21, ACC 20 and 19. Almost turned over there. Here today, but down 2-0.
Wake Med Soccer Park is becoming their home away from home.
Yeah.
It seems like year after year.
Substitution.
Paid off. Leibold still with it, cuts it back, and last-ditch tackle by Lundegaard. What have you seen? What have you seen, particularly in the second half here? Now it's 2-0. What does Clemson have to do to get back in this game?
I think they have to get more runners in advance of Mohamed Say. Isaiah Reed's half chance came because he ran off the ball and coming centrally. Maybe that formation shift of having 2 attacking midfielders playing off the likes of Mohamed Say is a good way to penetrate and create more opportunities. But in the character side of things, physically, they have to impose themselves a bit more. I've seen Syracuse win way too many 50-50 challenges if you're going to make a comeback.
Dispossesses Johnson. This could lead to an opportunity. But Johnson is hawking him down from behind, and he'll be called for a foul there. 14th foul a match for Cuse.
That's no easy feat to bring down Hamadi Diop. Levante Johnson, the hunger to come back. And it's a push. That's a clear foul.
Say plays in the channel for Montana. couple subs coming in for Clemson, one of them being 6. Dylan Sullivan, we mentioned a few minutes ago, the U.S. national team will be playing in 8 days. Dylan Sullivan is the brother of Tyler Adams, who I would think should be our captain of the U.S. men's national team in the midfield. But great family, a bunch of really good athletes. Dylan, Tyler, they got one brother playing football, Rob Morris, the other one's an all-sectional player in soccer in New York. See if he can help make a difference in this match right now. Lined up from Montana. Bodies flailing. Gomez, first time shot! Shealy equal to the task. What a volley.
Momentum is everything, and Clemson right on cue with the change of subs, getting probably one of their best opportunities. Look at the technique by Alvaro Gomez. That extra bit of letting the ball bounce, sets it up, tees it up. But Russell Shealy to do this with the sun. That half step makes all the difference. Quality save from the goalkeeper.
Gomez take it in, and Shealy has to touch it over again for another corner. Mike Noonan did mention the restarts. That's how Syracuse got their second goal. Poor free kick led to a breakout situation. See if they have some better corners taken here. Silla they went short to him. He'll take another one.
Syracuse have to do a better job of trying to isolate Mohamed Say.
A ball whipped in. There's Say, might have a chance. A lot of contact in the middle as the shots try to be taken. You've got bodies laying there. No call. Gomez battling, and now there'll be a call.
You can hear the sound of that tackle. Bodies in the way, players in the way, and maybe two-footed challenge on that. That's dangerous play. I think it's a good shout for a potential penalty kick. You have every right to go for the ball, but when you go with both feet.
Let me put you on the spot. You said it should be a shout. Penalty or no penalty in your mind?
In the end, no penalty.
Why?
Referee wasn't close enough to make the clean look. That's a bold call if you're a referee not sure about it to make that. That changes the game completely. I think the referee went for the more cautious approach to let the play go on.
David Erbacher, the middle official, one of the better officials in our game for sure. Tough spot there, and you could make a argument either way. You made an argument for no. 2 feet, I'd say yes. But I mean, that is part of this game, and there is no VAR of an incident like that in college soccer.
I think the dangerous part was because he lunged at it, but he was already on the ground and maybe inching his way towards it, but definitely playing with fire if you're Salim on that.
And Clemson's bench was given a yellow card for their displeasure with that no call. And Silla trying to dribble through some defenders, loses possession. Chifamba takes the ball. There they go, chance to break the other way. Say out wide, he's got Marco Garcia can run in front. Gomez to his left, lays it off to Gomez, and Say's cleaned out. Fouls all over the place. Guys are just pulling people now. There's probably going to be cards issued. Yeah, here we go. Oh, your gun leg goes in the book.
Seems to be a bit more fire and bite about this Clemson team since those subs came in. A lot of these players have played the bulk of the minutes in this starting 11. Not many changes in the first half.
23 minutes and change for Clemson. See if they can make something out of this free kick. They don't. And Gordon's getting numbers forward. Broken up by Chifamba. Diop scoops it up. He goes down. And Diop slow to get up. Poku unintentionally just kind of landed on his arm. 15th foul from Syracuse in the day. A physical team, no doubt. Still out a little bit of space, try to spin on Sinclair. Is it Sullivan? Say, looking forward for Silla. He's riding the challenge. He's in that low center of gravity. Oh, good spin. Looking for the foul, not going to get that. And David Erbacher says, easy, big fella. Here's your tickets punched already for the NCAA tournament. Selection show tomorrow afternoon. See Washington already in the Pac-12 right here.
I think of Denver.
Yeah.
Their result against Virginia a team who got a very good result against the Virginia Cavaliers, who have been one of the surprises of the season.
Yep.
Also, former teammate of mine, Jamie Franks, head coach, so shout out to him, the job he's doing.
And one of your former assistants, the current coach,
Yes.
Bobby Moose at Wake Forest, was at Denver prior to his stop at the Demon Deacons, leading that great program. Syracuse made a sub in the break, though. Colin Byros came in the game in the midfield, 13, and for Lorenzo Boselli and Lundegaard now stepping forward. Heavy touch. And now you got a center back out of position.
It's good play from Sinclair. Outside of the yellow card, he really hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
And not only on that 50-50, more of a measured challenge, but enough to scare Lundegaard to jump out of play.
And Say came back from an offside position. And just to remind Sinclair, he's not on any of the all ACC teams. But as Ian McIntyre made the point to us, he is the first name on their team sheet. They have outstanding attackers. They got great flair players in the midfield, but number 5 is the guy that kind of holds it all together. Team sheet, he's shown it today.
He has presence.
Yeah.
For a lot of his previous years, he's quite good on the ball and quite composed in possession. But this year, what makes him so effective is his presence in midfield. His solidarity allows the skilled players in front of him to thrive.
Mm-hmm. Got a lot of great experience. Costa Rican international. Was the captain of their U17 team at the World Cup. He was the captain of the U20 team at the CONCACAF Championship a couple of years ago. So he's played very high level internationally and collegian.
I remember last year, he's played different positions. Last year, he was an outside back.
Yeah.
Now a defensive midfielder.
And Lundegaard, they will call the foul. And Clemson maintains possession. David Erbacher will slow things up for a second. We'll have a second to tell you about Tuesday night on ESPN2, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Men's college basketball, number 2 Gonzaga, coming off their win over Michigan State on the USS Abraham aircraft carrier on Friday night, takes on number 12 Texas, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. This game is also available on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. Feast Week used to just be Thanksgiving week. Now I feel like it's about 2.5 to 3 weeks, but a lot of hoops coming your way. And fans are getting vocal on the sideline there. And here comes a yellow card. A little bit of extracurriculars. I think the ball was kicked afterwards. Use your head, David Erbacher says.
Yep, keep track. 11 is out of the game, so I'll give you
That was on Curdy. And now another player down. Say, he skips to his feet. He's got the ball. Okay.
Oh, man, that's good work for Mohamed Say. Yes, the frustration's there, getting knocked down. He's taken some of his lumps and dished it out as well, but he moves on with it, and I think some of that frustration loses focus, leaning back a bit on the shot. That's why it almost ends up in the parking lot.
Stepping on our number 7, Kurt Kalov. And 18, Camden.
Kurt Kalov checks back in the game, 7. Be aware, because when he came in this game, he created some opportunities. Some great touches, some great passes.
Giona, Leibold.
With him coming on the field, Johnson going off. Johnson more of the speedster, looking to run in behind in the channels. Kalov will play as a second striker off the shoulder of Nathan Opoku.
Also, Camden Holbrook checks in, 18, a App State transfer, but also Cary, North Carolina product. Local kid coming home, going to win a championship from his home crowd.
Hometown flavor.
Nice touch there from Kalov on cue.
Also stepping on
Comes
for the
back in for
Orange.
Julio Falcar.
Number 8, Giorgio Volcheski. He replaces number 6, Will Fulhar.
Nice touch by Kalov again around the defender. He'll put the ball in, and touch.
Where with under 18 minutes left for Clemson, it's becoming do or die time, where a goal now would be so pivotal to your championship hopes. You want to leave it to the last 10 minutes of the game because it's desperation hour. We're not there yet. But for Clemson, can you capitalize on some of the momentum you've built?
Marco Garcia turns into some trouble. Battle through it, and there'll be another foul. Quick restart, and Shealy's able to get there before Sullivan.
Sullivan being on the field, he gives more athleticism, more ability to cover ground, mobility from midfield, which is something that Clemson didn't have enough of in the first half.
Poku tried to play it through. Does it come together? Now Say on it. He gets turned. He's got Silla. Ooh, looked for him. Well read though by Salim.
I'm going to say have the right idea. Turns pirouettes. Silla lung busting run. Maybe the ball on the ground instead of in the air. If he plays on the ground, I don't think Salim would have caught him.
And more attacking players coming on here for Clemson. Isaiah Easley, freshman forward, comes in from Muhammad Say, Hawaii native. Easley's got an interesting story, man. He had no college offers, so he goes over to Valencia, Spain, and plays in the Valencia Academy, which is a Liga program. Gets discovered over there. People start to see him. Nice offers, comes and plays at Clemson. Went from nothing to one of the better programs in the Liga to now one of the best programs in college soccer here at Clemson.
What was that Jersey song? Started from the bottom, now we're...
There you go. Now we're here.
Yeah. No, but you love to hear those feel-good stories, and it just shows that every player has their own unique path to get to the college soccer game.
And Sullivan's going to earn himself a yellow card, and Syracuse player down writhing.
Yellow card has been issued to Clemson's number 6, Dylan Sullivan.
Sullivan will go into David Erbacher's book.
Singleman getting clattered in the end. Maybe hit a shot to the face. Inadvertent contact.
Just because it's late, is that why it's a yellow there? Just unnecessary?
Over-eager.
Yeah. Ball played in. And Dama there. And another Syracuse player down. I think it's Sinclair in the middle of the pitch, but play on. Singleman and Sullivan battling again. Sinclair's still down. He's now up to his feet.
He's a player for Syracuse you don't want to lose in a game like this, or you think of the implications for the rest of the season.
Diop will just boot it out.
Having seen Sinclair go down, if you're Usman Silla, I would be demanding the ball. It is, test where his physical prowess is.
There's 2 balls in the pitch, but play continues. Finally, it's taken off. And Brandon Parrish is coming on for Dylan Sullivan now.
Back on for the Tigers.
Quick break for you to tell you about the 2022 Men's College Cup, December 10th and 13th, right here at Wake Med Soccer Park. 9th and 13th, excuse me, semifinal action at 6 and 8:30 p.m. and the NCAA Championship game 6 p.m. on December 13th. All games will be on ESPNU and the ESPN app. Can't wait for that, but we've got a lot to get to before that. We got the climax here. We got a lot of rounds of the NCAA tournament, but yes, it will all culminate here at Wake Med Soccer Park again like it has the last 2 seasons, last 3 seasons. Silla pressuring. Purdy able to run away from it. Nicely done by Syracuse to get out of a little bit of a jam there.
Syracuse doing well to just get the ball forward when they're pressed, not overthinking it, not trying to be too intricate. That's a good way for Clemson, though, with this high press to get back in the game. Can you force a turnover in transition?
Fumble waited on it a second, and then he paid the price for it. Holbrook on it. To the channel to Opoku, trying to turn the corner on Diop. Showed Diop the ball, and he took it.
Good defending from Diop. Didn't bite on the initial turn of pace from Nathan Opoku.
Nice early ball played by Parrish, but well read. Shealy. You said we're not at desperation time yet. What minute mark is it? Where are we going here?
I typically go to the 10-minute mark.
Okay.
10-minute mark, that's where you start feeling the pressure if you're Mike Noonan and Clemson, because Syracuse, they haven't given up many goals throughout this season. They're one of the best defensive teams in ACC play, and they're comfortable absorbing pressure in this back five. You see the position of Sinclair. Sinclair's almost dropping into a back six.
Yeah, Clemson, Syracuse only allowed 12 goals on 18 games this year. That's the second best in the conference, 7th in the nation in terms of goals against average. Byros comes down with the ball. Dings it out to Kalov. Parrish and Garcia crowd him out and turn it over.
That run from Kalov is important. It's a small detail, but look at where, if you're Clemson, you're winning the ball, but here comes Skinner.
Skinner's pass pulls Silla wide. We were talking about a player that's confident, and Joey Skinner's had a good year, but you've seen him, like, then he makes a confident move, but then he waited maybe 1-2 touches to make the pass, and then hits it like that. Like,
what do you do with it? You gotta play what you see.
Yeah.
When you're getting towards desperation hour and there's a trophy on the line, get it to your players who can make the difference faster.
Yeah.
My head coach, Davidovich at Wake Forest, he would say, do the simple things well, and then let the game come to you. Don't try and be the hero if that's not your job. I go back to that chance he had, Joey Skinner running in on goal. Mohamed Say and Usman Silla, Alvaro Gomez, at the top of the box. Play what you see, give them the ball, let them be they've been the guys who have gotten you here, let them be the heroes.
Easily checks out of the game. Mohamed Say back in the match.
And on for the Tigers.
Rutgers actually is going to ice the Big Ten championship. They're 3-1 against Indiana. Just went up 3-1, so about 4 minutes left in that game. Looks like they're going to win. Skinner now scurrying forward again. He's got space. Let's see what he does. Little slide rule ball looking for Parrish, and Parrish is off.
It's a frustrating moment for him. Joey Skinner's had a couple of those decision-making errors. And it's a pity because, as you said, he's had a solid season.
Yeah.
And one of the surprises of this Clemson back line. But that's what championship games do. It's the mentality shift. It's the players that are more consistent across 90 minutes of play that really stand out.
Sheely blasts it long. As we talked about the NCAA tournament here coming up here, Wake Med Soccer Park hosts the College Cup. In terms of the RPI situation, and the commission actually said, we should get 8 teams in the ACC. Everybody here is a lock with the exception of Carolina.
Yeah.
Are they in or out? They're on the bubble. Are they in or out in your mind at 35 in the RPI?
I think that they're in.
Okay.
One, it almost doesn't seem fathomable to have an NCAA tournament in South Carolina the last couple of seasons. But I think because of the turn of form they've had in the last 2 months, per se, maybe a month and a half, gets them in, and the quality of opposition, and the fact that ACC teams have been climbing the ranks in October and beyond.
Notre Dame was on the bubble as well, but Clemson dispatched them in the opener of this tournament. The first round kind of ended Chad Riley's chance for that team to get back to the NCAA tournament, where they were a College Cup participant last year. And, of course, they won this event last year, the ACC tournament.
If you go through the record books, a lot of the ACC teams that win championships, it's almost a predicator of what they're going to do for the NCAA tournament run.
Great job by Say to ride the challenge from Celine, trying to turn. And she lays it back to Silla. Silla's head is up. Say, let it go and clear it out. We are ticking under 10 minutes here. 2-0 Syracuse advantage through 2 first-half goals by Lorenzo Boselli and Giona Leibold. Amity Diop, second team all-conference center back, striding forward. Whips in an early ball, and Marco Garcia went down. He wants a foul because he couldn't make the run. Alvaro Gomez controls it. Looking for help. Got 9 guys almost behind the ball here for Syracuse. Enrique Montana in some space. He will serve the box. Hit on by Skinner. But Sheely, there easy.
That's a sign of desperation hour when you see 9 guys behind the ball, but also 9 guys for Clemson ahead of the ball. Clemson doing well to get more numbers in the box, and I've been surprised at the lack of numbers throughout this game. As you said, right in the hands of Sheely. Easy save for him.
Head up from Lundegaard, looking for Parrish on the run to the left flank. He's got it. Produced moments of brilliance in this tournament so far. Goals in the last 2 games, plays it in, looking back post. Gomez arrived, but just couldn't get his body right.
Alvaro Gomez has had 2 of the best chances for Clemson in this half. It's the extra effort. Parrish with his head up, he can see the lay of the land, he can see the run of Alvaro Gomez with a miscue on the header. Gomez tries to snap that header into the back of the net and towards the goal rather than redirecting it across the goal and towards that far post, or near post, excuse me.
Lorenzo Boselli, the goal scorer, checked back in the match in the break there. 8:22 to go. Syracuse looking for their 2nd ever ACC men's soccer championship, winning it back in 2015 as a 10 seed. And won every game on the road. It was not an easy trip at NC State, at UNC, at Clemson, at Notre Dame.
That was the birth of that center back partnership, Miles Robinson and Kamal Miller.
There you go.
Talent.
Syracuse in no rush to take this as the clock ticks. Headed down, Boselli on it. And Damon for the goal kick.
Syracuse doing a good job of forcing errant passes from Clemson. Something of note, every time Clemson has their head up looking.
Whoa. Both are down hard here. Awkward interaction between Salim and Parrish. They're both trying to get up in pain. Syracuse maintains possession. Early ball driven in and Dame off the claim.
We've seen a couple players slip on this near side. And Salim, on this occasion, slips and tees up a meaty challenge between he and Parrish.
Diop stepping forward. Still Diop. Chooses to play it to the feet of Garcia. He maintains possession, lays it off for Say. And there's Sinclair again. Been everywhere.
He's the bulldog of this team and the inspiration defensively for them.
Is the corner flag time yet? Looks like it may be. Body's flailing, but no call, and here we go.
There's little dribbles into the corner. It forces Clemson's attackers and midfielders to go 70 yards back in their own end, and those are legs that you will not have as time ticks on to get up in the attack and support.
Ian McIntyre, very animated on the sideline here. 19th foul for Syracuse. And David Urbacher stopping play and pulling it back again. And now we can play. 5:35. Orange and their fans can taste it. Almost there. Parrish wants the ball, they get it to him. He pings it out. Nice ball to Montana. He's in a lot of space there. Got 4 in the box. He drives it in. Body's flailing, and a foul called on Mohamed Say as he tried to get back in position.
That's a benefit of having a back five, is that 1v1 match with Mohamed Say. Say so good in the air. Strength of his is aerial duels. You have an extra man who can see where he can step in, and that's Salim. Another one of the 3 center backs between he and Noe Gunle, who've just been solid, done the little things well, made tackles when they need to.
Say steps through, and there's Salim again. First ball pinged wide, maybe the legs of Montana. He can't bring it down though. The Syracuse team member beat Clemson in South Carolina at historic Riggs Field 2-1 on September 16th, and Parrish cannot control it. And that was a moment Ian McIntyre said kind of set our season. It was a pivotal moment. I remember talking to Coach before the match, and it's kind of that feeling of, we'll see what we got, man. I think we got some good guys out here. We're now playing the defending national champs at their place, the #1 in the country. It's hard to win there. And they showed up. They won that game. They controlled that game, and that helps propel them. And they really have not looked back since.
The fact that they did it on the road. The fact that they did it against all expectations.
They were down 1-0.
It was a comeback win. I was about to say that. It really sets the tone for this team, the character.
Yep.
To have character to go to historic Riggs Field. Not an easy place to play. Clemson has shown that through the last couple of seasons, showed that. Flips it on its head, and I think it started some of the home bad form woes, for Clemson in the middle of the season.
Clemson had won 11 straight matches at that point, dating back to last year as Opoku and Diop were tangled up. But that Syracuse team really did announce themselves to the country. They have intentions of being one of the best teams, not just in this league, but in the nation, and they've shown that in the top 10 consistently. Now they are just 3.5 minutes from winning an ACC tournament championship, but I'll tell you, before the year started, nobody thought they were going to win. Nobody thought they'd beat you. Picked 4th in their division. Flicked on, cleared out.
Look at where they finished last year, even alongside Virginia, near the bottom of their division. Coming back with a vengeance this year in 2022.
Diop, fouled by Opoku.
If there's one player who can get Clemson back in this game, it's Hamady Diop. He's showing a bit of swagger, a bit of urgency on the dribble from the back to drive into midfield and create things.
Fumba on it. Nice ball played in. Say attacks. Oh, just wide. That would have made this thing nervy.
Much better from the Tigers. Mohamed Say creating a bit of separation from Salim. Salim late to react, and Shaley helplessly watches that inch past his post.
Holbrook on the run. Trying to end it in style. Lays it off. Johnson. What? One o'clock tomorrow is the NCAA men's selection show for the 48-team tournament. Find out where both these teams are going. We know Syracuse is going to be in the top 16. Clemson in the top 10 RPI. Clemson number 7 RPI. They get to the final. Should they be in the top 16?
I think so.
Because they're 18th in the country per the coaches poll, but
given who they've beaten to get here, the team that hadn't lost a game all season, top 5, #1 ranked team in the ACC, Duke, to go and put in the performance they did, to go on the road in Winston-Salem, away team that was very good at home this season, and blank the Demon Deacons. I'd say that's top 16 caliber.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If they're not, that would be wild to me. But here's Opoku. He's got Johnson in a ton of space. Oh, skips around Lundegaard. The two strikers that have done it all year couldn't go out in fashion. But with just over 70 seconds remaining, I don't think it's going to matter as the players have amassed on the sidelines and are getting ready to celebrate.
Nathan Opoku, such a talent. One of the revelations of this season for Syracuse. Miscues in the end.
Opoku's been fantastic, 3rd in the league in points at 21. Heels for handball. Johnson's 2nd at 22. Those guys have been great, but defensively they've been outstanding. They're about to be at their 10th shutout of the season. They're top 10 of the nation in goals against average. And they will have held one of the most dynamic attacking groups in Clemson to no goals and very few opportunities in this match where it mattered most, with the championship on the line.
Syracuse looked hungry for this game. From the first whistle, they showed their intent, physically imposing, and had the right mentality to see this through.
The fans are on their stands. The players are getting ready to storm the field. So Isaiah Reed tries to run onto it, and he's offside. And the countdown begins for the second time in the history of Syracuse and the ACC. They are ACC men's soccer champions.
What a moment this is for the Syracuse Orange. I thought they were outstanding today. They made the plays when they needed to. They were excellent in both boxes. A well-rounded team. And congratulations to the ACC Coach of the Year, Ian McIntyre. What a job he's done with this program.
A team that has not been to the NCAA tournament since 2019. That'll change this year. And he said what is going to be so special for these guys is the older guys have gone through so much adversity. And guys that don't necessarily play, we mentioned Julio Fulcar earlier, Lucas Dunhauer, Stephen Betts, Tony Shaw, these guys that have helped carry them forward and allowed them to have this opportunity. The trophy's in the pile, it is hoisted, and now 6 straight years, different ACC men's soccer champion. Michael, your thoughts overall?
This is an incredible final, an incredible run. Congratulations to both these teams on their championship run to get to this game. But given the performance, given the character that it took to come back in that game against Virginia, I think that was the edge that Syracuse got and needed to lift this trophy today.
And now Clemson have played in 4 straight finals in this building. They lost one here today, but they could find themselves back here in the College Cup. We've seen that happen in years past. Just because you don't win this event doesn't mean you can't win a national championship. You know that personally, but the winners of today are the Syracuse Orange and Ian McIntyre.
Ian McIntyre got it spot on with the balance in his team, and such a class act. Going over to shake the hands of Clemson players. It's going to be interesting now. When you win the ACC championship, you have a target on your back in ways you didn't before winning that trophy.
Well, we'll see where they're seated tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern with the selection show.